tonight. This morning, I'm going to go into journaling. We're going to talk a little bit about journaling, what journaling is, and what journaling does to help you in grief. And that's where we're going today. We're going to break down grief journaling. Look, you don't just have to you don't just have to journal your grief, but that's the specific part that we're going after today. If you are broken, if your heart feels sad, if you have had a grieving experience, one of the things that's really going to happen is that you're going to have this need feeling to get the energy out. And so that's what we want to talk about is what do we do with the negative energy? Okay. And so partly I'm going to be teaching out of that grief shit. That grief shit is an ebook that I wrote for you guys to just talk about the shit. What is the shit of grief? What is the shit of grief when I'm talking about that grief shit? And this is where we're going today. This is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be breaking it down. So I just opened a random chapter in that grief shit, and I'm actually on chapter 7. And I'm going to start there, and then we're going to lead into journaling. Yeah. I want to for all of you that are new and have never met me before, I want to start a little bit with my story so that you can hear and understand my story and understand how I got here being a grief specialist. In 2006, I was a real estate agent. I was a real estate agent and a professionally trained florist. So that's not important to my story, but I want to share it anyway. I was a florist. Hey, Miss Becky, and I would do. People would hire me to do their flowers for their wedding, and I would do their flowers, and that also leaned into me being an event coordinator. So that's what I was doing. So, and many times, and I was a busy lady, and many times I would do a client's flowers. I would sell them a house, do their flowers for their wedding, and do the whole thing. It was crazy how many times I did all of the stuff for a couple. And I was sitting in a real estate open house for a young guy. He had a big inheritance from his dad, and this was like the 4th house that I had sold him. And we were doing an open house there. One of the things about open house, and you guys, I'm sidetracking, but I got to wake up because I'm not awake yet. So give me a second. So one of the things about open houses is I hated to do them by myself because I was always afraid of being attacked in an open house. Anyway, so here I am. I'm sitting in this open house. It's Father's Day weekend, and it is Saturday. And I believe the open house was going to be something like 1 to 3 or something like that. Or 3 to 6, something like that. Because it was the call. I got the call around 3 o'clock. So most of the times, I said all that to say this. Most of the times when I would do the open houses, Tony would come with me. Tony's my husband. He would come with me, and we had a plan. He would sit on the couch, and I would give him a flyer from the open house. So he would have the flyer from the open house, and he would sit on the couch, and we would just be in the house talking and enjoying our time alone. And if someone came in, he would pick up the flyer, and then he would start walking around the house like he was at the house looking at the house. So they didn't know that we were together, but then I didn't have to be alone. So he and I were together. Thank you, God, that was the plan. The phone rings. I answer the phone. On the other end of the phone, it is my daughter, Brittany. It is my 17-year-old daughter, Brittany, and she is screaming into the phone. She's screaming into the phone that she has lost Austin. Austin was my then 10-year-old nephew. Brittany was on a family trip with my brother Keith, and my brother-in-law, Lewis. Keith and Lewis, bless their hearts. Keith and Lewis decided, I have another side story about that. Keith and Lewis decided they were going to start an annual trip where they were going to take the kids to the lake every Father's Day weekend, and they were going to take them out on a boating trip. And this was that trip, and it was the first one. And they were on that trip. My husband did not go, but my daughter went. Brittany was 17. Austin was 10. There was Keith Michael was 9. All of the other kids was there. Donovan was 12. The kids were there. Brittany would often serve as the babysitter on the trips. So she would be the babysitter. Plus, Brittany was 17. but she was probably more near Donovan's age of 12. Um, she loved hanging out. She loved having fun. She loved being with Uncle Lou. She loved being with Uncle Keith, and she loved her cousins. She loves her cousins, and so she was on this trip, and she was she screamed, "Mom, I lost Austin!" And the minute I heard her voice, the minute I heard Brittany's voice, my knees went weak. My knees went weak and I fell to the ground. And honestly, you guys, when I answered the phone, I saw it was Brittany. I started to walk towards the front door and the front door was open. Was having the open house, the front door was open. And I started to walk towards the front door. And when she said it, when I tell you guys, my knees buckled and I just went to the ground, the fear in her voice, the sound of her voice scared the crap out of me, and I just went to the ground. But something in my brain told me to be strong. My brain told me to be strong. Good morning, EK. My brain told me to be strong, and I just went to the ground. And I tried as much as I could to make my voice strong. And I said, Brittany, he's there. He's there. Where's Uncle Keith? Where's Miss Peggy? Peggy is my sister-in-law. She's married to my brother Keith. And the kids, my daughter named her Miss Peggy when she was 2 years old. Where's Miss Peggy? She whispered, Uncle Keith said not to call anyone. Right when she said that, I was like, this shit is bad. Why is my brother telling her not to call anybody? My brother is a LAPD police detective for 40 years. What do you mean he's telling you not to call anybody? She said, Mom, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. And through a million tears, she's like, I don't know. I can't do this. I can't do this. She said, we found his shoes. In my brain, I didn't know what she meant about finding the shoes. Brittany, he's there. He's just run off. He's there. He followed somebody on a motorcycle. He just got away from you. Where were you at? So my brain is thinking that someone has taken him, someone has picked him up, she was with him somewhere, and that they lost. And I said, did you guys go somewhere? Now, you guys, I don't know if you know this, but they were in Lake Havasu. They were in Lake Havasu on the California side. So Lake Havasu beats up to Arizona. So there's California and Arizona. And they were on the California side, and that's where she was at the lake. And someone says here, struggling, my boyfriend is in ICU. I'll be right with you, love. I saw it. It just went past me. I'll be right with you. Tell us his name so we can honor him today. Tell us his name so we can honor him today. I ordered a second cup of coffee. Okay, that's for us. Should be 2, right?
1.
1, okay. Put it in our room. Thank you, babe. Mm-hmm. So I said, did you go get ice cream? He walked off and followed somebody. He's there, Brittany. You got to just look for him. Let me talk to Miss Peggy. Let me talk to Uncle Keith. And when I said that, she's like, Uncle Keith said, don't call anybody. So that's when she said the thing about the shoes. 3 hours after that initial phone call, we found out that Austin had drowned. EK said, hey, Tony, this is my second cup of coffee. I was like, I need another cup. We found out that Austin had drowned right there by the lake. I'm going to give you guys a backstory in that we found that Austin had drowned from carbon monoxide poisoning. Austin's body had taken in more carbon monoxide than typically a child should have 0.0000% of carbon monoxide in their body. DoorDash, he had 19.6000. I now knew more about carbon monoxide at that time than I ever wanted to know. Carbon monoxide seeps into your skin in the water. It seeps into your skin. You breathe it in. Kids are more likely to take in carbon monoxide than adults. And on the I'm sorry, I said they were on the California side. They were on the Arizona side. They were on the Arizona side. On the California side, kids cannot be near boats. They have to be 20 feet away from any running boat. They were on the Arizona side. That's a fact. And um, Arizona doesn't have that law. And the fix of it is simply a um, catalytic converter, which at the time, the catalytic converter was only like 270 bucks. Miss Becky said, did Brittany feel any guilt? You don't need to answer if you don't want to. Absolutely. No, no, no. A Brittany story is in print. It is in the it is one of the first chapters in Grieve That Shit. And it's going to be coming out. And you guys will be able to read Brittany's story. Everybody on the trip came back with their own personal responsibility. Everybody on the trip came back with their own personal responsibility and feeling of guilt. 100%. Okay. I get the call from Brittany. I get in touch with Erica. That's all in the story. And I realized that we have no one to help us with this grief. It was 2006. You guys, when I tell you the internet has changed our lives, the way grief is taught, the way we experience grief, the way we experience a broken heart, it is truly because of the amount of information out on the internet. When I tell you that, it is true. There wasn't that then. You would Google and you would find the 5 stages of grief, which through my deep dive and understanding were for the 5 stages of dying, not of the grievers. So I'm going to be teaching out of that grief shit this morning. Rebecca says, I agree. I lost 2 brothers, one in 1992 and one in 1993. Rebecca, what are their names? Can you tell us their first names? And there was nothing. In 1992, I'm a medical social worker now. Miss Rebecca, Erica was a social worker. Sam and David. Everybody, can you tap the screen for Sam and David and Rebecca? Let's give them some love. This morning. Miss Rebecca, one of the things is Erica is a social worker. Erica, the mother of Austin, is a social worker. And so at one point in the healing, I said to Erica, well, you're a social worker. What do you tell your kids? What do you tell your people when they're grieving? Erica was a social worker. She worked at a place that helped kids on the spectrum. Her population was 0 to 3 years old. 0 to 3 years old, and she did a lot of home visits, and they would set up those kids. She looked straight at me, and she said, "We don't tell them anything. We don't touch this." Friends, when I tell you, I thought a social worker was going to come and was going to have that news. Praying I won't be grieving my bestie after the meeting in ICU today. I tell them it's a wave. It's a wave. It's so much more than a wave, Miss Rebecca. I'm so glad that you're here. Sometimes it's huge and sometimes it's small. Yes, you're a social worker for hospice. My mom just recently got put in a place on hospice, and I just met with the social worker there, and I gave her a lot of my information. So welcome, Miss Rebecca. So that grief shit. So now I'm going to be coming up on my 19 years. I've been doing this for 18 years. I'm coming up on my 19th year of helping grievers through helping myself first. Butterfly Rosa says, welcome, Rebecca, through helping myself first. I did this for myself first. I went through my own grieving experience. I helped my sister with her grieving experience. And then she and I together started helping grievers. This I just wrote this year. It's called That Grief Shit. There's so much shit in grief. And the shit is the lies. The shit is the lies that's out there. The shit is the experience and the stuff that you don't know. The shit is the way people treat you. The shit is the way people come at you. When I tell you, you got, ask Monette, you got to put on some boots and wade through that shit. You got to wade through that shit. Grievers need this. People should be on grievers, and I tell them not to let them. People on grief, and I tell them not to let them. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And my book is coming out. It's called Grieve That Shit. And this is the shit. I kind of break down what the shit is. And that's where we're going today. I wanted to tell my story about Austin because a lot of you guys don't know about Austin. So the second year after Austin died, Eric and I start sitting with grievers and we start sharing with them how to grieve, how to get through the grieving people. People say you should call it should on them. Yeah, you're right. You shouldn't should on them. You should do this. You should do that. Oh yeah, I should put a chapter in there. I'm going to do that. Hi, I'm just over 90 days. I've cried every day since I found my husband. Hey, Miss Holly, I'm okay. I'm okay with you crying. I want you crying, Miss Holly. I want you crying. And we're going to go in that today. I want you crying. Miss Holly, my heart to yours, truly, truly my heart to yours, Holly Bear. Holly Bear, can you give us his name? And I know you've been here before. Give us his name again so we can give you some love. What's your husband's name? Thank you, EK. Give us his name so we... Crying is healthy. It's part of the healing experience, Miss Rebecca, but it helps us to relieve the pressure. It helps us to relieve the pressure. It helps us move the emotion. It helps us move the emotion. My husband of 42 years died in April, and I can't cry. Okay. Love, love, love it. Look at the two, you guys. Nettie says she can't cry at all. Holly says she cries every day. Both of those are okay. Both of those are okay. Miss Moniz said, I had a really rough day yesterday, but it was okay. I leaned into the shit. Hi, it's been 1 year today since my husband passed, and we were together 36 years. Tangi, my heart to yours. To Tangi and Nettie, we need your husband's names so we can love up on you. You too, Miss Holly. Matthew. Everybody, let's tap the screen for Holly and Matthew. Let me break this down for you guys. Well, let's start there. I do have a lesson planned, but we can start there. Nettie says her husband's name is Anthony. And Tangi says Daryl. Let me break this down for you guys, crying and tears. Since you guys brought it up, okay? And hey, look, I'm one tired lady. I've been doing lives all week, and I've been coming up with the lessons. And if you guys want to come up with the lesson, I am all about it. Okay, and if you guys are new here, it's going to be, this may be the first time that you've heard this. So this is a good time to do this. All right. Part of the reason I'm tired is because I broke the cardinal rule and I went back to sleep. Okay. I woke up at 4 and I went back to sleep. And there is, I shouldn't have done that. Hold on, let me open this. My brain is too tired. All right. There's two types of grief. There's intellectual grief. Happens right here in our brain. This is thoughts. This is memories. This is thinking. You can have thoughts and you can have thinking. This is the brain's version of grief. It is constantly analyzing and questioning the story. And most times, Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Sorry. Thank you, EK. Thank you. Most times when you are doing thoughts, or you are doing memories, or you are doing thinking, I think thinking is the worst. Your brain is on a loop. Your brain is on a loop in that thought, right? Intellectual grief tends to replay the timeline. When Austin died, which is the story that I shared this morning, when Austin died, and I was at the house and I received the phone call, when I tell you that I replayed Austin's death on a loop 550 million times, I want you to know that I replayed Austin's um, story on a loop 550 million times. It's just what the brain does. It was going back to that phone call over and over and over again, over and over and over again. And my brain just kept hearing, I can still hear Brittany's voice. I can still hear Brittany's voice. So I'm getting to tears, guys. I promise you, I'm getting to tears. So I could still hear Brittany's voice on that loop over and over and over again. The brain's version of grief is this constant analyzing and questioning and storytelling. People in intellectual grief tend to replay the timeline, asking what if and why. So, intellectual grief, thoughts, memories, and questions lead to why, what if. What if I would have done this? What if I wouldn't have done that? Why does the brain think it's in charge? The brain thinks it's in charge of the grief because it thinks it can fix the grief. It thinks it sees you in danger. Here's the brain. I'm going to be the brain. Oh my gosh, Tangi's in danger. Let me help her. Let me figure this out. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep her distracted and I'm going to keep her thinking about everything that doesn't have anything to do with this. I'm going to show her this and I'm going to send her down a rabbit hole looking for this. And the whole time I'm keeping busy and my brain is on this thing, which is a whiteout applicator, I'm not thinking about my grief. Miss Tangian, every time you're thinking about this, guess what you're not doing? You're not crying. You're not crying out. You're fun. I have to entertain myself sometimes. Thank you so much. People in intellectual grief tend to replay the timeline. I'm reading from my notes, asking, what if, why, and how could this happen? How? 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 How did this happen? How did I not know? How did I not see this? Sometimes it shows up as obsession, thinking it over, rereading text messages, going back to their phone. Because one of the things that happens when we are in intellectual grief is we 100% become the detective. We become the detective of the grief. Our brain is intellectual and it becomes the detective. We become the detective of the grief. We have to find the answer. We have to solve the case. You're the detective. You got to solve the case. You need to know what's going on. You need to know the things. You got to do this. You're very welcome, Miss Holly. You're very welcome. Miss Holly, I 100% am the person that I needed when Austin died. I didn't finish my Austin story, but I will. Every single time you have a thought, every single time you have a memory, every single time you do thinking is thinking about thoughts. Every time you say why, every time you say what if, every time you say how, your thoughts send emotions. This intellectual grief sends emotions to your heart. Emotions are good, bad, sweet, and sour. Emotions are good, bad. They are good emotions, they're bad emotions. They're sweet emotions, they're sour emotions. Emotions are all the things. Every time we do this, we feel it here. We feel it right here. Grief happens here. It does not happen here. That's why people are shooting on us. That's why people, I'm stealing Rebecca's line. That's why people are shooting on us. People are shooting on us. They are shooting on us for one reason. They are shooting on us because they are talking here. We are trying to solve the case as the detective. We are trying to solve the case. How did this happen? Why did this happen? Why are we like this? So we are trying to solve the case through here. Okay. Every time an emotion happens, it happens in our heart. Hold on, guys. So you got the intellect. Emotions are the things, the heart's version of grief. Emotions are the heart's version of grief. It's the flood of feelings. And when you have thought, you flood the heart with emotions and you ambush yourself. You ambush your heart with a ton of emotions. You ambush yourself with sadness, anger, guilt, loneliness, despair, longing. Emotional grief is what makes your chest feel heavy. Emotional grief is what makes your chest feel heavy. You guys coming in here with your ideas. Emotional grief is what makes your chest feel heavy and your stomach drop, and the tears will come without warning. The tears will come without warning. There are many times that's when the tears will come. It shows up as an unpredictable wave. You're fine one minute and you collapse the next. It's not rational, and it doesn't care about your facts. It doesn't care about what facts you've come up with. Your body carries it as tight in your shoulders. It causes exhaustion, panic, and numbness. The struggle, feeling the fear, feeling that this grief is unbearable. So people shut down and they avoid them. Okay, that's where I want to get with you for you, Miss Nettie. So listen to me. It's not rational. It doesn't care about the facts. Your body carries this thing that is tight in your shoulders. You feel exhausted, you panic, and you're numb. So here's what happens. You have intellectual thought, you become the detective. You're trying to figure out through thoughts, memory, thinking, what if, and you're trying to solve the case. Okay. Now we're going to get into the tears, okay? I want to get into the tears. Your brain is on the thoughts. Every time your brain has one of these thoughts, it sends an emotion here. So for you that says, I can't stop crying, I'll handle them in a minute, Miss Holly. Don't you worry about that. For you that says, I can't stop crying, every thought you have, every memory you have, everything you think about your beautiful husband sends an emotion. And crying is the first line of defense. Crying is your first line of defense. You relieving the pressure in your heart and actually in your brain. You're relieving the pressure that's building up. Your body carries it as a tight shoulders. It's exhaustion, it's panic or numbness. When you cry, what is happening is you're relieving the pressure of the grief. Think of all of this. This is 10 emotions that got set into your heart This is day one. This can be hour one. This can be hour two. All of these emotions start to build up in here almost like a time bomb. You've got to relieve this pressure or you're going to be sick. If you don't relieve the pressure, you're going to be sick, right? So one of the things that happens is that we will cry it out. I love cry it out. Now, I'm not a crier. I'm 62 years old. I've gone through the change of life, which my body doesn't know it's finished yet because every now and then it'll send me a hot flash. It doesn't know it's finished. We need to have a conversation. And since I've gone through, tears just aren't readily available for me. And so I just happen to not be a crier. My mom's husband died recently. If you guys have been following me at all, I spent a month in Arizona taking care of my mom, her husband Lawrence, going to the funeral and packing my mom up. When I walked in, my eyes got watery when I saw Lawrence and I held his hand. At the funeral, I had a moment. At the church, when I took my mom to church, and when we talked to the priest, because I had been taking Lawrence to church, and so it was very familiar to me, and he really loved his relationship with God, and that caused a moment for me. I got teary-eyed, but tears never ran down my face. Also, I think part of it has to do with your relationship with the person. Wasn't really close to Lawrence. We were friends. My mother is 83 years old. She and Lawrence were married for 3 years. I consider Lawrence a friend. But we weren't intimate friends like I am with my best friend Sharon, who passed away in 2017. That's so much different. So for you, Miss Holly Bear says, I can't stop crying. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. What's going to help you a little bit, I want you to name the emotion you're having. Try paying attention to the emotion that you're having when you're crying. Try paying attention also to the thoughts that you're having. Because the thought is something like this. How did he leave me? How did this happen? Why am I here now? It's something very simple, okay? All right. To the next person, Miss Tangi, that says, I don't cry. I haven't cried. It's a couple of things. Couple of things, my love. Here's number one. If you're anything like me and you've gone through the change, number one, tears might not be readily available to you. And this is where I think is the biggest. This is what I think is the biggest. Let me talk louder. You guys, I'm brain dead. Okay. One of the reasons you might not cry is because your body might still be in shock and you might be numb. When we're in shock and numbness and when we just find out the tears aren't readily available, I have cried. I didn't say that. Okay, I got it. But there's people on here that haven't cried. Oh, it wasn't you, Miss Tangi. Okay. It was Miss Nettie. Miss Nettie. Okay, I'm sorry. Got you confused. My apologies, my love. When some of the reasons we don't cry is because of shock and numbness. Some is because of the condition. Thank you, Tangi. Some is because that's just not the way we express the pain. We're just not criers. We're not criers. I have gone through the change, and since I've gone through the change, the tears aren't readily available to me. I want to tell you guys something. Would I like to cry right now? Oh, hell yeah. I would do anything to cry right now. Not right now on this live, but I mean, I have tears. I would do anything to cry because it is the best way to relieve the pressure. Even having a fight with Tony, I would love to cry. I would love to release that pressure. The tears just aren't there for me. One of the things that my father died in 2013. And one of the things that my mom kept saying when my dad died, she's like, I'm not a crier. But Holly says, I would cry with you. I would cry with you, Miss Holly. I would cry with you. And I would give you the hug. I would give you the best hug. Bookkeeping says bookkeeping iffy. I literally have no tears left. Eyes are dry now. Yes. Um, when my dad died, my mom kept saying, I knew about grief, but I knew about grief. I was always a grief specialist, but she kept saying this over and over again. But I wish I would have helped her more. She kept saying, people are going to expect me to cry, and I don't cry anymore. People are going to expect me. She felt like she was going to be judged on grief. And I'll tell you why. Tears are not a sign of grief. Tears are not a sign of grief. You can go through an entire grieving experience without shedding one tear. Most people are thinking, I've got to be crying in order to be grieving. That is not true. That is a thought. That's a thought. I have to have tears. That's not true. I was at a funeral. I was with my mother for a month. She cried one time when I wasn't there. She finally got some tears to come right when he died, right after he died. I'm sorry, I wasn't there. And when I was there, I didn't cry. I was there for a whole month. Fear of grief judgment is real. Absolutely. People are going to judge our grief. Listen, when I tell you tears aren't a sign of grief, they are a sign of your love. Tears are a sign of your love. They can also be a sign of your pain. Tears are a sign of your hate. If you hate the person, you can absolutely grieve. Tears are a sign of your emotion. Tears are how we release. Tears are how we release the pressure. Tears serve an important purpose. They serve a purpose on grief, but they are not grieving. They are not the grief. Yes, we all grieve differently. You're right. Everybody grieves differently. You grieve differently based on your person. Okay. I have a lot of love and a lot of pain. Yes, love. Yes. And here's the deal, Miss Holly. I'm going to finish this for you, Nettie. Miss Holly, I want you to allow the tears. I want you to stop judging the tears. And I don't know if you are. Don't judge the tears. This is for everybody. Don't judge the tears. Let the tears be there. The tears serve a purpose. They serve a purpose of love. They serve a purpose of pain. They serve a purpose of hate, emotions, release. You might just be mad. You might just be mad that this happened, and you might be crying. You might go to the checkbook and go, how the hell am I going to figure this out? You might look at your kids. Look, I look at my kids. Then I have a thought. Oh my gosh, how am I going to do this without him? A thought. Immediately, you go to your heart. And your heart says sadness. It comes out the front of your face. Your body's doing exactly what it was designed to do. Your body was designed to grieve. Our bodies, our brain were designed to grieve. We were not designed to hold this in. We were not designed to hold this in. You're not supposed to hold your grief in. It's supposed to come out. Okay, Miss Nettie, some of us don't have tears. Some of us don't have tears. I'm mad. Okay, okay. Hold on, Miss Nettie. And some of us are not going to grieve because we just don't have the tears. Oh my gosh, did I get to the end? I'm at the end of another book. Are you kidding me? I went through all of that. Man. Miss Nettie, I don't know your situation. I really don't. But I want to say this. I'm mad is a thought. And sometimes we don't grieve. Sometimes we don't grieve because we get stuck into intellectual grief. Sometimes we don't grieve. I'm sorry. Sometimes we don't cry because we get stuck into intellectual grief. And when we get stuck in intellectual grief, we're not going to let it drop down here. So one of the things that happens is we don't drop it down here, so we don't feel it, because we're just like this. We're just so mad. I'm alone. This was not the deal that we had. Yeah. After nearly 8 months, the tears continue to flow like a river. Good. Good, Flaw Girl. I'm mad at his care. Yes. So one of the things we did last week is on Thursday night, you guys, we did brain dumps. One of the things that we did was brain dumps. A lot of times what happens when we get stuck right here in our brain and we have not dropped down into the emotions, we get stuck here. We got to dump it. We got to dump it. And I taught brain dumps. And if you are here and you're a member of my group, in my Facebook group is the Grieve School, the training on the brain dumps is there. That brain dump helped him tremendously. I love it, Miss Vicki. So one of the things that happens, Miss Nettie, is when we're mad and we're in intellectual grief and we stay in intellectual grief, we don't drop down into our heart. Grief happens here, you guys. It also happens here. Here's where we go to work on the grief. Here's where we move the grief. Here's the part that I help you on. Here's the part where we often get stuck. Here's the part where we examine the grief. Here's the part where we learn about the grief. They both have a purpose to serve, but here's where you do the grieving. Yes, go into the grief group. And so now I'm going to continue on from there. You guys, that's where I'm going with the lesson today. I'm not going to write on the board anymore because I ran out of paper. I have to go get one and put it up, and I'm not going to do that. Okay. That's exactly where, Miss Nettie, you are so welcome. You are so, so welcome. And I want you to know this. You might go through this entire, oh no. She said she's not out of paper yet. Okay, EK, grab some paper. You may go through this entire grieving experience and not cry. I have dry erase. I do have dry erase. You might go through this. Here's the deal. I have dry erase, Holly, and I accidentally bought permanent markers. And I wrote on my dry erase board in a permanent marker. And I have my pads. And so tonight, I'll just go back to my dry erase. So I wrote on the dry erase in a permanent marker. Hey, I get excited. I get excited about this. I get excited about helping you guys. Yes, absolutely. Hoops. Okay. So a couple of things. If you haven't done so yet, join the Facebook group. The Facebook group is the Grief School. The Facebook group is the Grief School. And that's the place where I teach all of this. That was my aunt's wall. That was my aunt's wall. She said, you also wrote, hey, Bill. That's my friend. I totally feel the same way. When I drive the streets, when I got the call, I keep recalling the call over and over again. Keisha, yes. Yeah. Keisha says she keeps recalling the call over and over again. The loop is the worst. The loop is, let me tell you about the loop. The loop is your brain trying to figure out what happened. That's why I had to cover it up. It was my mom. I think I could have gotten away with it, but it was my aunt. And I use this. And when I first used it, I actually used the one there's Debbie. Debbie was there. I actually used the one that came in the jar, the actual wet one. And so I showed it to Debbie. She's like, no, you can still see that. But in the morning when I got up, it looked different. So when the reason that you're looping, your brain is looping, is because the truth of what had happened to you is gotten here. It's in the intellect, right? Your heart cannot accept. It doesn't want to accept. It's pushing back. It's too painful. You might be numb. You might be in shock. It's all of those things. So the loop has a purpose that it serves. The loop's purpose is to allow you time to start accepting what has happened. You guys, I'm not telling you because I don't believe in acceptance as a thing. But your body is starting to realize what has really happened and the shock. And so the loop has to go on for that reason. Plus, you're searching. You're searching any way you can. You're searching for the answers. The loop does that as well. Yeah, that's why I have the white out. We can go through the loop for years. Bookie says I went through the loop for years. We can go through the loop for years and we're stuck. If you keep going through the loop and it's years later, you're stuck. And it's almost like you need somebody to come and knock it out. If you get stuck in the loop, that is absolutely a thing. Partly we get stuck in the loop, you guys, because we have nowhere to lay it. We have nowhere to lay the grief. If you have nowhere to lay the grief, you get stuck, and you can get stuck in the loop. Tangi said, I'm so glad I found your group today. I'm glad you found us. Welcome. Okay, couple of things. My name is Sharon Brubaker, and I'm the owner of the Grief School. The Grief School is the place where healing begins. The Grief School is where I walk you through grief. On the lives, I'm just teaching about different aspects of grief, literally breaking grief down. Okay, I wrote a book called Grieve That Shit. It's coming out at the end of the month. I also wrote That Grief Shit. What is the shit about grief? If you haven't done it yet, I want you to click on the link in my, click on my picture, click on my picture again, and click on the link that says click here for hope. I want you to download the ebook. If you're in the other social medias, you click on the link that says click here for hope. I'm smart now. I made them match. You click on the link that says click here for hope, and there you can download That Grief Shit. Where I'm reading from today is chapter 7. I'm teaching from chapter 7 in there. Okay. I'm going to read for a second out of here. I don't see it. Click on the picture and then click on the picture again. Then you're going to go to my page. When you go to my page, you're going to see under my picture there, you see click here for hope. Click on that. And you're going to go through oh, Julia. I've been watching your videos. My heart to yours, Miss Julia. My 28-year-old daughter who lives with me was found. My heart to yours, my love. Julia, my heart to yours. Welcome. Julia, what was her name? Share her name with us. Share her name with us. Okay. Chapter 7. Your first brave conversation is with someone you trust. Your first brave conversation will be with someone you trust, because silence will suffocate you. You'll probably be holding it in because you don't want to be a burden, because you don't want to make people uncomfortable, because you've been taught that grief is private. Someone has taught you that grief is private. But here's what I know. Grief will suffocate you in the silence. It will fester. It will turn into shame, and it will lie to you. You don't have to share your grief with someone. That someone could be a trusted person. It could be a journal. It could be a brain dump. It could be a voice on the other end of the phone. It can be a crazy bald-headed lady on the social media. Even your reflection in the mirror. It could even be the reflection in the mirror, because it is someone you trust. How many times have you gotten to your mirror and you're washing your face in the morning, and all of a sudden you say, how the hell did this happen to me? How the hell did I get there? That's you talking to yourself in the mirror. The goal here is for you to feel heard, to feel listened to. At some point, that's where we're getting to. The goal is to stop. It says not at that point. I put here, hold on. I wrote in the book, the goal isn't to be heard. That's not right there at that moment. The goal is for you to not carry this alone. The first conversation is scary. But here's the deal. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's the other thing that we're doing. We're all trying to get to perfect grief. We're all trying to get to perfect grief, and we're not going to get there. I promise you, you're not going to get there. Julia, did you tell us his name? Her name was Carly. Is that Carly? Carlia. Carlia. Vivian says anything for me. Did you ask me a question, Vivian? My condolences, Julia. I'm ready to heal now. It's been 3 years. Yeah, grief doesn't have a timeline. It doesn't have a timeline. I'm not sure that I'm ready for healing. Miss Holly, you're a little bit early, love. You got to go through the process, some of the process. Hey, Austin. Oh, Carla. Okay. Carla, I just feel ready. You're ready. Then you're ready. Okay, let me finish reading this, you guys, because I want to get into journaling. I don't know. Here's some things you might say. I don't know what to say. What if I fall apart? You already are falling apart. You already are falling apart. What if I don't get it? What if I don't understand it? What if I don't get it? Good. You still got to process it. You're not supposed to have perfect words. Grief is not perfect. Grief is ugly. Grief is messy. Grief shows up as sloppy. You're supposed to have true words. We're supposed to tell the truth. We're supposed to tell the truth in our grief. So here's how you might start. You might just start with whispering at first. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I can't do this. I'm not okay. Maybe it's just a thought that goes through in your mind. Maybe it's just a thought that goes through in your mind. I'm not okay. It doesn't have to be poetic. I'm angry. I'm numb. I'm lost. I miss him so much. I can't breathe. If you're talking to someone, you can say, I don't know how to fix this. Help me fix this. I don't understand this. That's something that might come out for you. All right. When we get to that part, when we get to the part that we are so overwhelmed in our grief, when the grief builds up and it is so heavy and it is right here in our throat, and we cannot figure out how to get it out, that is the time that we go to doing a brain dump or doing a journal. If you didn't make the live, couple of things. I taught brain dumping. Today I'm talking about journaling. If you download this book, this is called That Grief Shit. You go to the link in my bio and download That Grief Shit. In this book, I teach. In this book, when you get this book, you guys, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about this book. This book is free. This book is free, and you get 9 trainings from me. For 9 straight days, every day you receive an email. Every day in that email, you receive a video that's 12 to 15 minutes long, and I break down each chapter in here, and I teach from the chapter. One of the chapters I teach from, I think it's chapter 9. I could be wrong. You guys don't quote me. I'm a tired old lady trying to get into heaven now. Is how to do a brain dump. I teach you how to do a brain dump. So if you came to the live on Thursday, we did brain dumps together. If you didn't learn that, you can join the Facebook group at the Grief School. And the video of where I taught the brain dump is there. It's not as neat and clean because it's live and I'm answering questions in between as the one you're going to get with this video. But download the video and download the ebook and go through the training on how to do a brain dump. Right now, we're talking about journaling. Okay. Brain dumps relieve pressure. Brain dumps relieve pressure. Thursday was a great live. I know. I got to do that more. I got to find a professor who can help me learn how to do that more. Professor here. Okay. Journaling your grief isn't just Dear Diary. It's not just your diary. It's I'm sad. It's structured. It's intentional. It's an intentional practice of putting words into chaos. That's something, Miss EK. I need to get you up on my live so we can talk about journaling. It's intentional practice of putting words of the chaos from your head and your body onto a piece of paper. It has to land somewhere. But journaling tends to be done more with intention. Where brain dumping is just a place to get the energy out. It's just a place to dump it somewhere. Grief journaling is the practice of writing down your thoughts, writing down your emotions, writing down your memories, writing down an experience. We're going to do it. We are going to do it. A connection to the loss. At its core, it's about creating a safe container for what feels unbearable. I want to tell you guys something, okay? I want to tell you something, and because I'm always truthful as much as I can be in here. I'm always truthful as much as I can be. I am not a journaler. I'm not a person who journals. I'm just not. I'm a dumper. I'm a brain dumper. Maybe it's at some point it's a form of journaling, but I'm just not a dear diary. Today, I just don't do that. I just don't. Kathy here, also a retired old lady trying to get into heaven. Yes. Yes. I love old ladies trying to get into heaven. Why it matters. We process confusion. I downloaded it, but like a child, I have been a bit resistant. Miss Holly, I want to tell you something. Miss Holly said she downloaded it, but she's resisting it. It is not going to heal your grief. I'm not going to take away the pain. This is to help you process the pain, help you move the pain along. And maybe you're not ready for it. Be okay with that. Be okay with that. You've downloaded the book, but you're not ready. Be okay. You're not ready to look at it. Look at what Julia said. Julia said, I'm ready. It's been 3 years and I'm ready. You and Julia are both in different places. You're both in different places. So be okay with that. All right. That's where you are right now. Put it in a safe place. Know you have it. Sometime, Miss Holly, you're going to wake up at 3:00 in the morning and it's going to be unbearable pain. And you're not going to know what to do with yourself. And you're going to say, oh yeah, I have that shit from Sharon. I have that shit that Sharon gave me. Let me go look at it. No matter how fast you want to go, no matter how fast you wanted it to go, it goes how fast it goes and how slow it goes. Julia, don't you think we need that on a bumper sticker, you guys? Grief shit. No matter how fast you want it to go, it's going to go how fast as it goes. It's going to go how slow it goes. And never give up. Yeah. Today you might make it through. Tomorrow you might not. Okay, guys, I got to stay concentrated over here. You got my ADD going. Processing versus strong. If you don't process the grief, you end up storing it. Journaling and dumping is a way of processing the grief. If you don't process the grief, you end up storing it. Okay, I said I wasn't going to write, but I got to write this. We were never meant to be storage plants. We were never meant to store this grief in our hearts. It was never meant to be. We were meant to process our grief. And that's why we have to get the energy out. If you store it, it ends up looking like this. Storage plants. You were meant to process. You were meant to be a processing plant. When I said about 40 minutes ago that the body knows what to do. The body knows what to do. I can't eat the gum anymore. It's giving me chest pains. I can't. Do I need my gum? I can't do the gum but I need this second cup of coffee. It starts to deal with my angina and I can't do that anymore. All right, straight black Starbucks coffee. That's where I'm at. Processing versus storing. If you don't, thank you, Miss Becky. I love you. If you don't process grief, you will end up storing it. Journaling is one of the ways of processing instead of packing it down. Journaling helps us with emotional regulation. Putting words on paper slows your brain down. I'm going to say that again. Putting words on paper slows your brain down. The racing thoughts gets it in order. It helps you to get it in order. It helps you to put it with the overwhelm if you can put it in sentences. You can have physical relief. Just taking the pencil to paper can give you physical relief of the pressure and the pain. Writing has measurable psychological effects on you. It lowers your blood pressure. It slows your heart rate down. It helps your nervous system get calm. It helps you preserve the memories. It helps you preserve the memories. Journaling keeps stories, details, and feelings about your person alive when the memories get foggy. EK is a journaler. May I share that? EK is a journaler. She says, for me, writing slows down the swirling brain. I did it for a bit, but then I stopped. You may be more of a brain dumper right now because you're so in such fresh grief, Miss Holly. You may be more of a brain dumper, right? So you may need to do more of this brain dumping than actually journaling. I want you to try it. Go to the live that was Thursday night in the Facebook group at the Grief School and watch that live, and maybe you're more of a brain dumper. You guys, I want to preserve the memories. I can still hear Austin's scratchy voice. I want to preserve that. Journaling keeps stories, details, and feelings about your person alive. It also records your grief. You also can record the grief. It helps you with self-coaching. Oh my gosh, Monette. She said she brain dumped on anger yesterday and the pen went through the paper. Once it's on the page, you see the loops. You see where you're repeating in areas. Once you put it on the paper, you can see the loops. You can see the loops live and in vivid color. You can see the places where you've been lied to, where you're lying to yourself. You can see the regrets. You can see the truth. You can challenge your thoughts instead of being ruled by them. Okay. There are 5 different types of journaling. That's what we're going to go into today. There are 5 different types of journaling. There's free writing, which is more of a dump, where you just go and you're writing. Today I went to the market. I was thinking about you. I was on the aisle. I saw your barbecue sauce. Right? Dump everything uncensored. No grammar, no filter, just write. That's called free writing. There's also prompt-based journaling, where we use a structure and we answer a question. How do I feel today? Mona says, I love this. A different part of your brain is engaged when you write it and read it versus, don't do the training right now, Miss EK. We're going to go live together. We're going to do a training on journaling. She's so cute. She is the cutest little thing, you guys. The cutest little thing. Prompt base is where we use a prompt. What do I miss today? Now, hear me out. Prompts can also be used in dumps. Prompts can also be used in dumps. But in a journal, we're going more for a paragraph type. We're going more for a paragraph type. I'm going to get you and Monette on a live, and we're going to do dump versus journaling. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. If you guys are open to that. If you're open to that sort of thing, we're going to do both. Okay, so there's free base writing, which is more of a dump. There's prompt, where you actually answer the question. You can also use prompt base in a dump. You can write the question of what you're struggling with and answer it in a dump form. There's letter writing. There's letter writing, where we write letters to our person. We write letters to ourselves. We even write them to people who don't get it, who don't understand it. Hey, I want to say this, you guys. Listen to me. Just because you wrote a letter to your next door neighbor who doesn't understand your grief, who keeps coming over and she keeps saying the dumbest shit, just like Rebecca said earlier, she's shooting on you. You should go out. You should do this. You should plant a garden. You should decorate. You should put up the tree. He would want you to do that because she's shooting on you and because she keeps putting you pissing you off and you write a letter to her does not mean you have to give it to her. It is a form of journaling. I do this a lot. I do this a lot. I tend to do this a lot with my sisters. I do it with my husband. If my neighbor is pissing me off, if my husband is pissing me off, I will get a pencil and I will write a letter to him. I never give it to him. When you are writing a letter to someone that you're upset with, your neighbor or whatever, you're putting it onto paper, you're journaling in a letter form. I need to write the letters to others. Yes. My good, EK says, my good writing starts with a dump. So she starts with a dump and then she may turn it into a journaling. Letters that you never send help so much. Why? Because you're taking the intellect, you're taking the emotion, and you put it onto paper. It is about you. It's not about them. It is about you. It is about your broken heart. It is about the emotions that you're feeling. It is about the anger that you're feeling. It is about the pain that you're feeling. Okay, free writing, prompt-based journaling, letter writing, memory keeping. This one makes me want to cry because I love this. Memory keeping is so good. Memory keeping. I worked with a beautiful, beautiful lady 2 years ago, and she lost her one and only daughter during COVID. She lost her one and only daughter during COVID. Not of COVID, but during COVID. And I bet you if I called her up today, she's still doing this. She writes journals to her daughter. She collects memories, both painful and sweet, and she integrates them in the story that she's writing. And every day she goes to her journal and she writes in her journal about things that she did. She said it feels like she's keeping her daughter abreast of what's going on. She gets to still have conversations with her daughter. She has journals where she really writes to her daughter. Every single day she writes to her daughter. Memory keeping is a form of journaling. You collect memories, both painful and sweet, and they integrate into your grief story. Friends, we are living our grief story. We're living our grief story. What is your grief story? What is your grief story? We are living our grief story. Everyone's grief has a story. What is your grief story? It's one of the classes that I teach. I haven't thought about doing that with Matthew. It doesn't have to be done right now. You can start it at any time. At any time, you can start it. At any time. I love that. It is a place for us to say what's going on. Miss Holly Bear, do you and Matthew have children? I have written out my morning and my nighttime prayers for almost 6 months, and it has helped so much. I love that. She's writing it out in a prayer form. How beautiful is that? She's writing it out in a prayer form. That is so, so beautiful. Okay, so there's 5. There's one more, and it's completion journaling. It's where you write out the words that you never got a chance to say. Some of those words might be ugly. Some of those words might be beautiful, but you write out things that you never got a chance to say. Okay. What are we going to write about? What do you write about? We write about the exact moment where our life split into 2. You write about the exact moment where your life split into 2. Who you were before the loss, who you are after the loss. We write about physical sensations of grief. We write about the tightness in our chest. We write about how exhausted we are. We write about our stomach pain. We write about the look on our child's face. We write about the rage that people who avoid our pain and the stupid things that they say. We write about why people keep shitting on us. We write about the love. We write about the joy. We write about the love and joy that still exists within the memory in the memories. Miss Vicky says we write about the loneliness. Um, Miss Holly Bear says not together. We had 4 boys from a previous marriage, and now they don't reach out and acknowledge that I exist. That might be where the journaling might go to, Miss Holly Bear, to them. You might want to be if you directed the journal towards them, you can write about what the grief is. You can write about the grief, right? You can write it to the boys. Hey, Suzanne, how are you doing, my love? I also write about every lesson I've learned day by day through this shit. Yep, the grief shit. We write about it. You write about the love. You write about the joy that still exists in the memories. You write about the pain in the memories. You write about the funny parts of the memories. The loneliness. You realize no one else is living this same timeline as you. No one else is living the timeline that you are. The unsaid words, the regret, the forgiveness, the longing, all of that we write. It is a secondary loss, Miss Holly Bear. It is a huge secondary loss. I love and miss them so much. I am grieving the living and the dead. Yes, you are, my love. Yes, you are. You are 100%. You're doing both. It's a secondary loss to Matthew, and now you're having to grieve them as well. A journal for them might be really good, not to give them, and maybe at some point you would give it to them, but just to journal through that part of it. You can journal what you're going through, what you're experiencing in the grief, but direct it towards the boys. Just a thought, honey. Okay, how do we journal? How do we journal? You set time aside. We call it grief time. We call this grief time. Even 10 minutes count. Even 5 minutes count. Right? You get your materials together. Hear me out, guys. I teach a class called Processing the Pain of Grief. Processing the Pain of Grief is a class that I teach. In Processing the Pain of Grief, one of the things that I teach is your grief corner. Where is your grief corner in your house? Where are you grieving? One of the things that I teach is the grief corner. In the grief corner is where you go to have grief time. I want you to have, there's my love, there's my friend Suzanne, there she comes with the hearts. The grief corner is where you're set up, ready to go at any time. Becky says, I set up my grief corner this time. EK says, I need a grief corner. What happens in your grief corner? You guys, I wish I could show you. At one point I will. I'll show you my other house. And it had a living room. I'm living in Texas now. And the only window leading out to the front door is right here in this office. This is a sidetrack. I think it is so dangerous not to have windows that lead to outside. Like, you don't know what's going on if you can't see outside in the front, right? But my office is in the front of the house. This room is in the front. And it's the only window that leads outside. In my other house is I had my whole front of my house was all glass. And I had a couch set right by the glass. And right at that couch set right by the glass was a table. And on that table, I had things that I needed. And that's a grief corner. It's where you know you're going to go to grieve. You also, I'm teaching the lesson right now. You also let everybody know that's my grief corner. When you see me in the grief corner, you're more than welcome to come and join me. But when you see me in the grief corner, that's when I'm going to be crying. Suzanne says, I have several. That's where I'm going to be crying. That's where I'm going to be going through my grief. When you see me in the grief corner, especially if you have littles Let them know when you see mommy over here, I'm going to be grieving. All of that is taught. I break it all down in processing the pain of grief. Because what's over there in the grief corner? You might have a candle. You might have pictures. You might have something to play music on. You will have that grief shit. When you download the grief shit, it's going to be in the grief corner over there. That's where you're going to go through the grief shit. That's where you're going to have your journaling. Is all going to be in the grief corner. That's what's going to be over there. Hear me out, you guys. If you're grieving all over the house, that's great. That's great. But have the one place where you know you're going to grieve. That way, when they get used to seeing you over there, they know you're grieving. Oh my God, Miss Becky. Miss Becky has a I do not disturb sign, and she's going to put it on her door, and she's going to hang it on her door. I love that. I love that. Okay. I love that. Okay, guys. Set aside time. Most likely you're going to go to your grief corner when you're going to do this. Even 10 minutes counts. Make sure you have your material ready. So it's at the ready. In the grief corner, you have a pen. You have paper. If typing is better for you, by all means type. EK, do you write or type? I think I like to write. Becky writes. Not Becky, I'm sorry. I saw Becky's name and I wrote Becky. Monette writes. Do not censor. Do not censor. Set time aside. Get your materials. Do not censor. Ugly, raw, unfinished sentences are what we're doing here. Flaw Girl says she writes. Suzanne says it's her shit space. We want to set time aside. We want to have our materials ready to go. We're not going to censor. We're going to pair it with our reflection. So you might do a dump first. You might do a brain dump, and you might take one of the things off of the dump and put it into your journal, and then you might journal that. You might have a question in there that you have to pull onto the journal. After a brain dump, you ask yourself, is this a thought or a fact? So you're going to download that grief shit. This is the shit that people have been telling us, that people tell us. This is the shit. The shit is the hard part. Getting through the shit is the hard part. So you're going to go, I want you guys to download this book. This is free. I'm giving it to you. I am giving this to you for free. Okay, when you download it, it's not going to look like this. I went to the FedEx and had them make it for me because I wanted to be able to hold something up for you guys so you could see it. Click on the link in my picture. Click on the link in my picture. Click on the link that says click here for hope.com. When you click here for hope, you're going to go you'll see my picture, my ball-headed picture. You're going to go about three spaces down and you're going to see that grief shit and you download it there. She said, we can have more than one shit room. You can have as much shit room as you want. Holly Bear says, no one comes to see me. This group and those I talk to online or the phone. Miss Holly, not in here, but in that grief shit, I talk a lot about. Agree that shit is why people don't come. Why they don't come. It's hard for them. It is really hard for them. Miss Holly, that's so cute. She says, so funny. Matthew hated it here. He called this place shit. It really is the shit place. It's the place where shit happens. It's the place where grief shit happens. It's the shit place. My heart to yours. Okay. 5 tips right now on how to journal your grief. You're going to set time aside. You're going to get your material ready. I don't want you to go, oh my gosh, that's a great question. I need to journal that. And then find a Post-it and then get your little Post-it out and start trying to journal on your Post-it. You need to have a book ready to go where you can journal. You need space to journal. All right. You're not going to censor it. The ugly, ugly mess is going to go there. You're going to pair this with your with a reflection. So you may do a brain dump and then pull a question out of there and put it on the journal. You may pull a just download it. Oh, love it, love it. You may just take that energy and put it over onto the journal and write it. Here's the most important, you guys. Keep it private. Keep it private. This is not for a social media post. Do not take your journal and then put it onto social media. This is not for social media. It is not to get approval from your family. This is personal. It is for you. Do not call everybody in the world and read them the journal. Let me tell you why. They don't want to hear it. We are shitsters. They don't want to hear the shit. They don't want to hear the shit. They can't understand the shit. The shit is for you. The shit is for you, about you. Don't take your damn journal and put it on social media. Okay, here's the deal, my friend. I'm sorry, these people over here, they're just driving me crazy. One of the things that happened a few months back is Miss Suzanne was doing her work. And 2 or 3 times, maybe more, Suzanne, she can even share. One time she just wrote a poem. Through doing some of her work, a poem came out of it. She wrote a beautiful poem about Gail. Miss Susanna might be misquoting this, but and she shared it with me. And I said, "Can I share that?" She said, "Yes." And I posted that share. And so she, doing her journaling, doing her work, her brain ended up writing this. One time she wrote an op-ed on grief. And she shared that. And we shared the link to the op-ed. Something might come out of your journal, a poem, a story, an aha moment. You might want to share the aha moment with them, but the journal is private. It was meant to be private. The brain dump is private. Can you imagine going up to your friend and going, "Oh, I did a brain dump." I did a brain dump. Here's my brain dump. Let me tell you what this means. Like, look right here. Look, I have the, she's going to think you're a whack job and that you lost your mind. Okay? They're for you. Keep them private. If you have an aha moment, take that aha moment and turn that into the post. Turn that into the post. Don't take the journal and put it up, because somebody's going to get their feelings hurt. And most likely it's going to be you. Most likely it's going to be you. All right. So I'm teaching. My name is Sharon Brubaker. I'm a grief specialist. I'm the owner of the Grief School. I recently wrote this ebook called That Grief Shit. It's a free download for you guys. You click on my picture and download it. We're talking about journaling. I wrote some prompts to help you get started. What's the hardest part of grief today? If I could say one more thing to my person, what would it be? I'm going to take these prompts and post them into the Grief School. Here's the thing about the Grief School. The Grief School is a private Facebook group. Every day I post a prompt in there. Every day, sometimes you just answer it. I'm going to take these prompts and post them in the Facebook group today. What's the hardest part of today? You may just want to journal that. You can also brain dump it. If I could say one more thing to my person, what would it be? You can brain dump it. You can also journal it. The moment I realized that you were gone, I felt. Hey, Vicki, awesome. I'll let you in. The lie about grief that I've been believing. What is a lie about grief that you've been believing? What is a memory that brings up both pain and comfort? That's a good one. What is a memory that brings up both pain and comfort? I just had to search my brain. How do I get to the download? Go here to my picture, click on my picture, then click on my picture again, and then you're going to go to my page. When you get to my page, click on the link that says click here for hope, and you click on that, and there you'll get the download. What am I afraid to admit about my grief? What are you afraid to admit about it? Wow, that's awesome. Okay, friends, I'm going to post those today. I promise I'm going to post those today. I'm so glad you joined the group. I hope you found the download, Kimberly. Here are the pitfalls to avoid when journaling. Avoid perfectionism. This is not literature. EK is not your professor. I was showing her a slide the other day, and empowered was spelled wrong. I'm not perfect. You guys, when I let go of my perfectionism, that's when it happened. Today, I told you guys I was coming live at 7 a.m. I told you guys I was coming live at 7 a.m. I woke up at 4. I woke up at 4 a.m. and I went back to sleep. And when I woke up again, it was 6:48. I woke up at 4 something, and I was like, I should get up right now. No, it's Saturday. I'll get up at 6. She said, I may be a professor, but I'm far from a perfect tool. And that's okay. When we take out the perfectionism, when we take out the perfectionism is when we let okay. You guys, I have been here. I'm out of paper, so I can't write on the board anymore. My board has fallen. Yesterday, I was on a call with a beautiful lady. She was sharing her, I was on a call with a beautiful lady, and she was literally crying about the loss of her son. There was a knock at the door. I live with a set of 3-year-old twins, and oh, Kimberly, I'm so happy for you. And the knock sounded like an adult, and I opened the door, and here come running in are 2 3-year-olds. 2 3-year-olds, and they're just talking, and she's been on the live before. She was like, oh, the twins. My heart felt so bad because I think the twins have walked in on Suzanne before too. I have an adult lock thing. They can't open my door. I'm the only one that has the safety. They can't get in the door unless I open it. You can't be perfect. Grief is not perfect. Grief is not neat and clean and tidy. I promise you, it is not neat, clean, and tidy. Grief does not come in a neat, clean, tiny box. It is messy. It is shitty. It is ugly. Get rid of trying to be perfect. You're not going to do this grief perfect. You're not. And if you just admit that I'm not going to do this perfect, I'm going to do it messy and ugly and sloppy. And if you start doing it that way, you're going to be so much better off. Hear me out. I put this together, this ebook, right? And I offer it to you guys. I'm in here reading it, and I'm seeing mistakes. There are mistakes in here. It's not going to be neat, clean, and tidy. And if you just accept that, you'll be so much better off. Stop trying to be perfect in your grief. Stop trying to find all the things. Here's the thing, you guys. I come in here and I teach in this live, and I teach about grief, and I've been doing it well over a year, and I still do not teach, have not touched what I teach in the program. I don't teach I do not teach what's in the program. I definitely learned that grief is full of shit and mud, and I had to jump in it and get dirty. That's Sandra, 100%. She said, I have learned that grief is full of shit. It is muddy, and I had to jump into it. Rosie says, I had my daughter printed out for me. Thank you, Miss Rosie. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Don't try to be perfect. Don't try to make it neat and clean. Don't go buy your journal. I'm sure I have a journal here somewhere. Don't go buy a nice, neat, clean journal. Look how pretty this is. Oh my gosh, this is going to be my grief journal. Oh, with grace, it says. And then I'm going to sit here. Look at this, you guys. Brain dumps are in it. Ooh, this is a good brain dump from 2022. Okay, don't buy a neat, clean journal and think everything in here has to be neat because this is so neat and pretty. Brain dump in it. Brain dump in it. It is absolutely okay to brain dump. All right, I wanted to show you that. Don't try to be perfect. Don't avoid it. Don't write only positive things. You're never going to get to the answer if everything has to be positive. This is also one of the things in when we're grieving. If we go out to make our person, if we go out to enshrine our person and make them out to be perfect, we're never going to get to the heart of the matter. Grief happens in our heart. Grief happens in our heart. It is negative, positive emotions. It is positive, negative emotions that show up in our heart. That's what the grief is. If you go out to make your person the perfect person in the world, you are lying to yourself. You are lying. We tell the truth about ourselves always. We tell the truth about ourselves and we tell the truth about our person. Now, there are times when your relationship with your person was nothing but good. There are times when your relationship with your person was nothing but good, that what they brought to you was amazingly perfect. And that person might be your daddy. He might be your dad. And everything that came to you was amazingly beautiful. And that might be what you bring to the paper. And that is absolutely okay. But by all means, do not lie. Do not lie. Do not only write positive things and try to bypass the pain. That is not helpful to anyone. It ain't helpful to you, and it's not helpful to your grief, which could keep you stuck. No perfectionism, no avoiding, and no comparison. Do not measure your grief journal against someone else's grief. Do not take this and be like, dang, I was really ugly. How come she's not having that kind of grief? Because your grief is based on your relationship with your person. It's not based on your mother's relationship with them. It's not based on your sister's relationship with them. My grief was about me. My grief was about me and Austin. It was not based on Brittany's relationship with Austin. Brittany was 17 years old. She was Austin's cousin. She was Austin's babysitter. She wasn't there the day Austin was born. She didn't help Erica with the breastfeeding. That was me. That was my relationship. She didn't hold that little guy in the middle of the night when he was up crying. That was not Brittany. Brittany was 7 when Austin was born. That was me. That was my relationship with him. She didn't take him to the doctor. She didn't take him to the field trips. He didn't cry on her shoulder. That was me. That was my relationship with Austin. Brittany's relationship with Austin was fun. They had fun. They did stupid things. She got to hold him as a 7-year-old, and then she eventually became his babysitter. Don't measure your grief journal against anyone else's grief. Anyone else's grief, anyone else's words, or the speed at which they are healing. Don't measure your grief against whether someone is crying and you're not crying. Don't do that. Hey, everybody, we're teaching. I'm teaching out of that grief shit today. And this came out of chapter 7, which is your first brave conversation is going to be with somebody you trust. And that first person that you trust is probably going to be you. And you're probably going to journal. You're probably going to journal. And we're talking about journaling today. My name is Sharon Brubaker. I'm a grief specialist. I'm the owner of the Grief School. The Grief School is the place where healing begins. I sit at the feet of women who are grieving, and I walk them through the process of how to grieve. And this ebook I wrote is for you because people will shit on our grief and we shit on our own grief. And grief is shitty. I'm sorry, you guys. This is just the truth. Okay. On Thursday night, I taught a class and we did it together. And I'm going to do some journals together. We're going to do some journal prompts. I have 2 beautiful ladies in here and we're going to do a live with them. I'm going to do a live with them. And we're going to talk about, I'm going to set this up really soon. We're going to talk about journaling versus dumping. The role of healing. Journaling isn't healing. Just because you journal doesn't mean you're going to heal. Are there healing moments in the journaling? Yes. Will you have aha moments in the journaling? Yes. Will the journaling make you feel worse about your grief? Yes. All of that's going to happen. Journaling isn't healing by itself, but it is one of the tools that you can use, and it is a great tool to use during your grief time. It helps. It helps you face your emotions instead of resisting them. Journaling helps you face the emotions. Journaling helps you see the progress in your grief over time. Seeing the progress in your grief over time is done through journaling. It helps you walk your grief journey. Journaling helps you walk your grief journey. Miss Monette says you can see the shift happening when you journal. It is the steps that help you to integrate the love without only the pain. It helps you to move into the love with not just the pain. Okay, here's what I have here. I broke down what free writing is. I broke down what prompt-based journaling is and letter writing journaling. And that I think I'm going to save for us to do another session on journaling. I'm going to save that. All right. Let me go to the live and see if there are any questions. I'm going to save that. I think we'll pick up there on Tuesday. All right. Oh, yes. Video diary. Oh, yes. So cool. So cool. Oh, my gosh. That is so cool. Video diarying. That is absolutely something we need to talk about and how we can do it. That's a whole separate class. That's a whole separate class, EK. Oh, I love it. I love it. See, when you get these youngsters in here, they have all these ideas, all these neat ideas. I was sharing with somebody last night that my husband is 17 years older than I am. And when we got married, you guys, when I married Tony, I was 22. I was 22. No, I must have been, I was almost 23. We got married in December. When we got married and we walked down the aisle, I was 22. But the next month I turned 23 and he was 40. I was 23 years old and I married a 40-year-old. And when I tell you guys, the best guy ever, just the best guy ever. I got to go tell him that this morning. Sorry. Anyway, he's 17 years older than I am. Currently, as I sit here, I'm 62 and Tony is 80 years old. He is 80 years old and I'm 62. And we're 40 years later. Our 40th anniversary is this December. And when he gets, I love that he didn't get afraid of getting on the phone, a smartphone. He didn't get afraid of the computer. He didn't get afraid of his phone. Thank you. Because I know some of you are have a different story. I know. So thank you. And so Tammy, hey Tammy. And so thank you, Tammy. When he calls me in, he tries to do everything on the computer. When he calls me in to do the computer, he's like, hey, how do I get this to shift? I need this to go down here. When he calls me in and I move the cursor down, I hit enter and the cursor moves down, he thinks I am Mark Zuckerberg or the Apple guy, Steve Jobs. He's just like, you're so amazing. You're so amazing. And so hold on, Dev. And so he just thinks I'm the best thing in the world. But when Brittany comes in here, who's 37 years old, and I start typing and she's sitting in the room with me, she thinks I'm an idiot. She thinks I'm one of Jerry's kids. So I love having that idea, EK, of video diarying. You got to get all the new age stuff. So that's where I was going with that. So Linda says, beautiful. Hey, so some questions have been filtered. Can anyone see my questions? Let's see, Dev. Let's see. Yeah, see, it said some comments have been filtered. Dev said a heart. Thank you, Dev. Thank you for the heart. Hold on, I'm looking for it. I'm looking for it. A lot of stuff gets censored in here, but I might have passed it. Hold on, Dev. It's not here, Dev. It's not here. I'm calling you Dev, but I don't even think that I read your name right. Okay. One of Jerry's kids, Jerry Lewis. She's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing it that way? You just did 5 steps to get in there. An audio option. I have not seen it. An audio option for what, my love? Give me some more context so I know. Yep, you're being Brittany with your mom. I bet you are. But you get there. Yeah, I get there. That's where I'm at. I get there. Jovi is my assistant, and every morning at 6 a.m., Monday through Friday, Jovi and I get on the computer together. And there's a lot of times I have to share the screen because she's like, no, Sharon, you need to do this. And I'll have to share the screen. And she's like, right there in the right corner. She's literally show me. Is there an audio? Not yet. There's not an audio version yet to listen while I work. There's not an audio version yet, but I'm going to take it and put it onto the podcast. I'm starting that this week. And this Thursday is when you'll be able to hear the first one. I'm going to teach from this on the podcast. The podcast is Grieve That Shit. The podcast is Grieve That Shit. It used to be formerly Healing Starts with the Heart. It's called Grieve That Shit. And I'm going to be teaching out of this book on the podcast. And you're going to be able to hear as I teach onto the podcast. And this is where I'm starting, that grief shit. And you'll be able to listen to that. The podcast has been around since 2018. There are other things on the podcast. If you go back to the beginning, the podcast was started by Erica and myself. So you'll hear Erica's story at the beginning of the podcast. So you can go there and hear it there. And then that was Healing Starts with the Heart. The podcast, That Grief Shit, launches this week, Thursday morning. So funny. I love it. Yeah. They're calling themselves the shitsters over here. All right, friends. I got to get going. I have to babysit today, which was not in my bingo cards. But I have to babysit today. So EK and Monette, I'm going to be reaching out to you so we can keep this series going. And maybe we can do this live next week. We can come on live. We're going to talk about dumping versus journaling. And then EK and I can even talk about video diary. Right now, when I get off, if you haven't done so, please join the Facebook group. I'm going to put the prompts for the Facebook group in there. Hey, Miss Holly, we love you. We love Matthew. We love you sharing Matthew with us. We love everybody who shares their person with us. Are you still doing the weekend? I am doing the weekend, but it mostly went to online. You guys are not going to see me here because we're doing most of it. Where is Grieve That Shit? It is coming. Are you talking about the podcast? You can get the podcast, Grieve That Shit, wherever you find wherever you find your podcast, Apple, wherever you find your podcast, there you can download it. So glad you're here, Miss Holly Bear. Okay, a couple of things. Tuesday at 1 o'clock, Grief Study Hall. That's the place where you dump the shit. That's the place where you come and dump the shit. That's the place where I answer questions for you. I teach a lesson in there. And that's a place where you can come and dump the shit. If you've done Processing the Pain of Grief, Thursday at 4 o'clock is Processing the Pain of Grief. Anybody who's done Processing the Pain of Grief can come to Honor Society on Thursdays at 4 o'clock. Yes. I go live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I go live. I'm going to be going live on Tuesday. I go at 8 a.m. It's a little teaser, a little brain teaser. On Wednesday and Thursday, I go live at 9. Once I'm done with my client and she's getting in a better place, I will go live 9 a.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I go live. Next week, I'm going to go live at 8 p.m. And I'm going to do the teaser in the morning, and then I'm going to do the live in the evening. That will not always be that way. So just so you know, but that's where it is for right now. That's where we broke down journaling. That's where we broke down grief healing. We did it all in there. That's where we did it. If you haven't done so yet, download that grief shit. That grief shit is in the Courage to Grieve. EK say it's one of my favorite parts of the day. Click the link on my picture. Click the link on my picture. Click the link that says click here for hope. You'll be able to buy B Garza. You'll be able to buy that Grieve that shit. Yes, you'll be able to buy that grief shit. In between, there's another ebook coming. Study hall is at 1 p.m. on Tuesday. Flaw Girl, love it. She's going to download it today. Download it today. Here's the thing about this book. I want to tell you guys about this book. People think that I should sell it, but friends, I want to be able to, this is where I want to be able to. I am going to make some corrections to this. I'll let you guys know. I want to be able to over deliver to you guys. And this is not bullshit. This is Central Standard Time. Thank you. Thank you, EK. I want to be able to give you more than you are asking for. So in this, when you download this, you're going to start getting a series of emails. Each one of those emails has a video where I break down each chapter in here. I break down each chapter. So when you're ready, because Miss Holly said she downloaded, but she's not ready to look at it. That's okay. Put it aside. You're going to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you're going to look for something. That's when you're going to open this. Those emails are going to be there. Save those emails, right? So not only do you get this book, you get 9 emails about this book, 9 videos about this book, and that's there. Right, Suzanne? Suzanne says, can you put the schedule in the grief school? Yes, I'll put the schedule in the grief school. Also, when you download this, on Sundays, you're going to be receiving an email from me called Just a Thought. It's a thought about the grief. I want to set up your thought about the grief for the week, and you'll get an email version of it. I will, Miss Suzanne, I will. You guys, you women, I'm sorry for being all over the place, but what I'm trying to do is show up at the same place at the same time. I really am. I'm doing a schedule. I know. I tried to be a free person and just show up whenever I want. It doesn't work for you guys. And actually, it's not working for me either. Where do I post the questions to help out? Where do you post the questions to help us bring down? They're going to be in the Facebook group. Vicky says, I appreciate all you do. I am not trying. I started out this way and I stopped, and I should have never stopped. I'm trying to be the same place, same time every day. So you guys know. So you know what's going on. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be more consistent for you. I'm not trying. I'm going to be more consistent for you. We're not nagging it. I know you're not. I know, girl, I know you're not. I know you're not. We're just gently pushing you. I'm not offended by it at all. I'm not offended. Wait till we start playing pool. The other day, the other day, um, Miss Kathy came in the live. Miss Kathy came in the live. She came in. I'm sorry, Miss Kathy. She came in, and I saw her come in, and then she left. And I said to her, "Oh, Miss Kathy, I hope I didn't offend you. I hope you didn't leave because we were laughing so hard." Friends, when I tell you, you can laugh, cry, get mad, punch the wall, all of that's going to happen on this grief healing journey. And flinging poo is one of those things, right? So we're going to laugh. We're going to cry. That's what the sisterhood is about. That's what this sisterhood is about that we are formulating. We're formulating a group of sisters who grieve. The sorority is called the sisterhood. When you come to the grief school and you join the sorority, it is called the grief school. I'm sorry, the sisterhood. The sisterhood, the sorority. We got to come up. We're the shitsters. Okay, I must be really tired. The sorority is called the shitsters. I think it's incredible. If you want to join the sorority, it's called the shitsters. Holly Bear says, I never had a sisterhood before. Now you're in this. Now you're in the sisterhood of the shitsters. Tired Sharon is a hoot. The Facebook group is called the Grief School. The Facebook group is called the Grief School. The prompts aren't up yet, but I definitely will get them up. I definitely will get them up. Okay, guys, I'm going to go. I'm going to head out. Okay, that grief shit. Download the grief shit if you haven't done it. Click on my picture. Click on my picture. Click on the link that says click here for hope. If you are in Facebook or on YouTube, click on the link that says click here for hope. And there you will find this. Glad I'm with the shitsters. Matt would laugh. I'm glad you're with the shitsters too. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay. I want to leave you guys with this. I'm going to leave you with this. I see you. I see you. I see each and every one of you. I know that you're grieving. I know that you're grieving. I know that your heart is broken, and I know that you're in pain. I'm so glad you're here. Here's the other thing I want you to know. We are going to do this. We're going to do this grief shit. We're going to do it together. We're going to break it down. We are going to break it down together. We're going to break it down one step at a time, one moment at a time, 1 minute at a time. We're going to break it down. Be okay with whatever shows up for you. Be okay with whatever shows up for you. Okay? The shirts are coming, you guys. They are coming. So be okay with whatever shows up for you. Know that I see you. Know that I'm here for you. And know that I love you. I'll see you guys Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. I will see you. I came, I cried, I grieved. Wait, what did she say? I came, I cried, and I got this t-shirt. I love you. I love you. All right. Bye, friends. So funny. So funny. I love you guys. I love you. I'll see you Tuesday morning. All right.